What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13th installment of Wrestling Hypothesis Extra, the secondary show of the Wrestling Hypothesis podcast, here for your Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. Hope everyone is well, safe, and sound, of course. I am the ABA. Joining me this week is King Kenny. Yeah, and returning to the show, making his third appearance, his first appearance actually on Extra Properly, Lawrence, who's joined us twice
they
before.
They finally let me out the basement. They finally let me out. Let me breathe this time, guys. What's up, everyone?
And it's actually we should probably mention, that Lawrence appeared before Tara did on Extra.
Yep.
So that's
before the first lady.
Definitely, yes.
Before the first lady.
I know, right?
That is funny.
It's like, damn, we're gonna have to do something with that nickname if she's not even joining us for Extra.
It's hard. It's hard. Everyone's working. She's probably dead tired at work right now. So hey, it's hard.
Yeah. No, it's it's actually funny because we actually tried to plan it around her schedule too, and she still didn't show up. But hey, listen,
goes to the main show. Remember, listen, it's like a Triple H. He's gonna show up to one show. Got the belt because he doesn't want to work Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, for Heyman.
There you go.
Oh man.
Yeah. But before we get started with anything else, to those listening, you guys know what you have to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below on this video so you don't miss out on this series whenever we drop throughout the week. Just go ahead and do that. Yeah, like, share, comment, and subscribe. You guys know what you have to do there. If you haven't done so already, you can check out episode 41 that was posted from this past week, where we gave our picks for who our Mount Rushmore is for the best promo skills in WWE history. Very, very interesting discussion, that whole thing. In the archives, using any of the platforms we are available on, as well as visiting our own website, anchor.fm/wrestling-hypothesis. Hell in a Cell, WWE's event, is officially in the record books, and between the 3 cell matches we got in Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, Bayley against Sasha Banks, and Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton, all the matches I honestly enjoyed for their own reasons. Other than The Miz, now the new owner of the Money in the Bank briefcase, by beating Otis after Tucker turned his back on Otis and cost him his match, not much else really worth going over from the show. And before we really get to the cell matches, since I already did point out The Miz is now the new briefcase holder for Money in the Bank, to give my quick thoughts on it, honestly, I'm kind of indifferent to it because, like, in a sense, it's a good thing because anyone, like, at least we could take it a little bit more seriously than having Otis still hold on to it and be the briefcase holder. But at the same time, it's like WWE has given me at least no good reason to care about Miz or Morrison. I haven't cared about Miz since practically the whole feud with Shane McMahon last year. So, and they haven't done anything else to alleviate that.
But that's not the point. That's not the point. With all due respect to Miz and Morrison, I know no one cares about them, but that's not the point. The point is that's an upgrade from what you currently have, and you'd rather them hold on to the fucking briefcase than that fat slob. No offense to Otis, man, but that guy does not deserve that guy does not deserve to be Money in the Bank holder. Like no, that is the word. Like, the guy didn't even climb up the ladder to retrieve the briefcase.
Right.
That ladder
Like,
wasn't for his weight. Oh God. I don't want to bully him. Listen. I always felt it was bad. Listen, he beat Dolph Ziggler, and it got him the opportunity at Money in the Bank. Dolph Ziggler. Come on.
What is that? Is that a huge accomplishment or something?
It's not. He beat Dolph. He's not. At least a couple years ago, he was like the gateway to the main event, but he's nothing now. Like, everybody will fight Dolph, and then, they got to the main event. No, he's not that guy anymore. So he versed Dolph. It just wasn't good. And then as soon as he won the briefcase, it's like they're gonna get the briefcase off him. They can't.
That just goes to show Dolph Ziggler's whole career trajectory.
Career trajectory
On the ascent, and then completely downhill from there.
Like,
after he cashed in his own Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, thing is, I do like Otis. I like him, but he's not. I don't see him. The briefcase was originally supposed to be your way into becoming the next star, next main eventer. You don't see that in him. I was like, when are they gonna put it back on Corbin?
Right.
I even predicted put it on someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we thought it was just going to be a case of either he messes it up in like a slip of the banana, like slipping on banana peel moment, because he's a comedy act after all, or he was just going to lose it to somebody else in a Money in the Bank, like a match over the briefcase, which we saw at Hell in a Cell with The Miz. So like Kenny said, I agree. It is an upgrade, but at the same time, it's like there's no reason to care at all about the whole thing. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be suddenly caring so much about Miz. I mean, until he actually does cash in, like maybe I'll be a little bit interested, but they have a long way to go to make me care about Miz once again, like I did a few years ago.
Yeah, his momentum has really, really shot down. Thing is this, his feud with Shane McMahon, that's almost 2 years now. It's almost 2 years ago.
It ruined him.
It's ruined him since then. So, and I was there. I saw him wrestle as Shane at Mania and Jersey. It was great match. But I don't see that fire from Miz. Yes, I don't see Randy losing. I don't see him going against Roman. No, not at this point. Yeah, it may happen after. Something's gonna happen after Mania. Maybe if Edge wins, but everyone is thinking Edge is going to win the world title at Mania.
Oh yeah, but before I let you continue, we're gonna get into that in a little bit.
No problem.
So just hold off on that. But let's go through the cell matches. First, we had Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, which they put as the opener to the event. We all had high expectations with this match, as we've seen how their first match went at Clash of Champions last month, and we absolutely praised their showing then to the highest level possible. And we got an extension of that performance, I felt, in this match. This was incredible and filled with many of the same themes we saw at their previous match at Clash of Champions, with that Reigns is the self-proclaimed tribal chief of the Samoan family, and he is the main provider of the family. Jey takes exception to this, and we got this feud that plays off the family dynamic. Just to go over this match a little bit, a strap was the main weapon focused on here, with both Roman and Jey whipping each other bare-skinned throughout the second half of the entire match. Reigns locked in his new submission finish, the guillotine choke. Never struck Roman Reigns as someone who would use a submission as a big move in his arsenal, but hey, it's 2020. There hasn't been a whole lot that's truly surprised me in that way. Mm-hmm. He locked it in tight on Jey, who was out, but it was an I Quit match, so the match continued. He hits Jey Uso with the drive-by on the steel steps. He tosses the ref outside the ring, takes the steel steps, and was about to slam them on Jey's body, but Jimmy Uso ran in and pleaded for Roman to stop and think about what he was doing. Reigns dropped the steps, dropped to the floor himself, and was showing remorse for showing no mercy towards Jey up to this point in the match. But before much else could go on, Roman Reigns lured Jimmy in and trapped him in the guillotine submission. Jey gets up and sees this, and he can't stop Roman, so he shouts, I quit, profusely, ending the match, and Roman Reigns retains the Universal title. And after the match, we see Reigns with Paul Heyman walk to the stage, and we see Alpha and Sika of the Wild Samoans. Sika, of course, is Roman Reigns' father. They're on stage, and they're watching Roman, and they all embrace to end the segment, further cementing his newfound status as the tribal chief of the family. Like, what more can I really say than that a whole lot of people have already said up to this point with the whole family dynamic and the tribal chief thing? Like, this feud has been absolute money. The fact that I care so much at this point to see Jey Uso in a singles world title feud program, it's unfathomable. It seemed unfathomable at one point, and at the beginning it kind of did, but the way they've been playing this off with the whole family dynamic is like it has just breathed new life into his character and Roman Reigns as well.
No, I mean, from the start, I was all for this feud. Um, I think we could go back and play the tape on that one, but needless to say, this. Huh, I know I said that probably the match of the year candidate was their previous match, but this one fits right up there with it, man. Um, the first one, usually the sequel, isn't better than the original, but the sequel was better than the original with this one. And I also felt like um, it kind of solidified, my point earlier. When we were talking about the torch, the proverbial torch that Cena passed Roman a couple of years back. Um, and this is different. This torch is different, clearly. Like, this is the real torch. This is the one that solidifies Roman Reigns.
It's finally lit. The torch is finally lit.
Exactly. And it's just one of those things, right? That one of those moments where you say you were there, right? Like, we've never seen a kind of a shift like this before, right? It was always a star that turned heel, right? And then when, like, it's always, he's a face once his career started, and then turns heel, and then everybody's like, why? Oh my God, no! But this is different. This is not one of those moments. This is it felt organic. It felt real. It actually, yeah, it felt real. You know what I mean? Like, the moment where Roman was crying in the ring with Jimmy, um, that was real. That was real. Like, Jimmy's like, yo, this is Josh we're talking about here. Like, why would you even go that far? You know what I mean? So I felt like this is almost it's almost, Lawrence, it's almost AEW-esque in
Yeah,
a way.
it
You
was
know
almost
what I
like
mean?
Cody.
Right, exactly. Like, it was almost like that, like that real surreal. Like, I never thought that they would this deep, really, into a feud, but they actually did.
Yeah, it really felt like, because I don't know, maybe with family, it just brings that to another, like when we had Cody and Dustin, it became match of the year because it had the family aspect involved. Now with the Roman and Jay, now Jimmy, now we have the bloodline. It's been great. Like, the storytelling of this match was bar none probably the best thing we've seen in probably years.
Yeah, and I would
And
add on that I would not completely count out the whole idea that we mentioned on the show about how the Usos, both Jimmy and Jay, eventually catch up to Roman and Paul Heyman and what they're doing, and eventually join them as a collective unit. I could still see that happening.
I don't know. He will remember now because Jay lost. Now he's
right. No, he's got to
embedded
fall
to
in
him.
line.
He has to fall in line. He has to follow him.
Yep.
So, but I
That's
do
right.
have to pat Paul
And he
Heyman on the
embraces
back.
it. But yep,
Yeah.
and he embraces it. And they both
Embraces it.
embrace it. That could be the story there.
Yeah. It's time to pat Paul Heyman on the back. When Paul Heyman's good, he's good. When Paul Heyman's good, he's damn good. So Paul Heyman, Roman, they got the freedom to do what they want, and this is what happens. So it was a great match. Hopefully they can keep this going with other opponents. Or with their next opponent, they can keep this going. No, it's not going to be the same thing, but you can keep that momentum. It'll be great.
Yeah. We also on the show, we had Sasha Banks against Bayley. And this was another great Hell in a Cell match on the show. Another story with intensity in its own right that made sense to do inside the cell structure. Spot after spot, some of which were innovative from both Bayley and Banks with the chair, the ladder, the kendo sticks. Just to skip ahead to the end, Bayley laid Sasha out on a ladder that was bridged with 2 chairs set up in the ring. She gets on the second rope with another chair and came down, but Banks sidestepped her. She hits the Meteora, followed by a Bayley to belly on the ladder to Bayley for a close near fall. Bayley hit Sasha with a few chair shots and was attempting a Bayley to belly with the chair to Sasha's back, but Sasha countered into a Banks statement on Bayley with the chair strapped to her neck. And Banks was aggressively stomping on the chair for added torture while applying the submission hold. And Bayley taps out, and Sasha Banks is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. I thought the finish was creative. We haven't seen a spot like that before, at least in recent memory. And it looks like the feud has reached its conclusion, at least for the time being. And seeing as how SmackDown picked up a nice new face for themselves from the draft in Bianca Belair, like that's a rivalry pretty much looking forward to. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Banks versus Bianca Belair. Absolutely. Take my money. I got to see that.
The Banks Belair angle, I think would have been better than anything Bayley could have done with the championship belt. That's number one. Number two, I'd have to say, in utilizing the Hell in a Cell, I feel like this match was the best one. Utilized the structure, hands down.
If I had to nitpick with the Reigns Uso match, as great as it was, the one problem I had with it, as small as it is like it felt like the cell was just in the background.
Yeah. Right.
It's just like exactly. It was just you'd use the background effect. They didn't really use it.
Yeah.
Like they could have kept it to the I quit stipulation and just left it at that. It would have still made the impact it did.
Absolutely. So I don't really have much to say on Sasha's winning. I wasn't surprised. The thing is,
Sasha Banks.
Exactly. Championship reigns are very flaky with Sasha.
Flaky,
it's very fleeting. It's when she wins, how long is she gonna keep it for? That's the main thing now. I mean, this is the most solidified win that she's ever had. I'll tell you that much. Like the one that you can say, oh shit, there's not an asterisk next to it, or there's no but this happened and that's why she won. But she won it on Raw. That means she won't keep it for long because she's still in an existing feud. Like this is an exclamation point, and she never had a type of victory like that before. So I think for those of us that are questioning whether or not she'll keep the title for a long period of time, well, just look at it. Has she ever had an exclamation point on a win yet? No, I don't believe she has. Mm-hmm. So, if that's the case, then she might end up keeping it's more likely that she ends up keeping the title even longer this time than a month.
I think it's time to give her due for Sasha because I am a Sasha stan, Charlotte fan. That's how it is. Sasha stan, Charlotte fan. But Sasha, in terms of that, she's getting almost everyone in the floor in probably their best match, or at least one of their top two matches. And because if Ricardo pops out of nowhere, Charlotte, man, I heard him. But yeah, so Sasha's been giving everyone over the best two matches, and she certainly deserves it. The storyline deserves it. Before the Roman situation, this was the best storyline in the WWE at the moment. Sasha versus Bayley. Bayley has done really well. I think possibly in terms of heel, her heel run might be a little bit better than Charlotte's current heel runs. I can probably argue for it, but I'm not gonna do it at this time. Her heel run's been magnificent. So for that, she held the title for so long, she held it down. And it's time for Sasha to go. Hopefully 6 months. Hopefully. I know it's hard. They may not do it because there's no one on SmackDown. And they may do it other than Bayley. It's
Bianca Belair, man. Yeah.
That's it. So if you can push the Bianca feud to Mania.
WrestleMania, exactly.
WrestleMania, if she wins the Rumble or she wins Chamber, then you do it. You can kind of push it. But they literally put everyone else on Raw, so it may happen.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Like they should definitely at least consider doing that. But knowing WWE, that makes too much sense. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
Exactly.
I think she has more pull now. I think she has more pull in the back. I think Sasha has more pull, so I think it'll probably be done. I
don't get I get what you're saying. I don't get the impression that Bianca Belair has any heat with anyone in the locker room.
No heat.
I'm pretty sure she's in their good books. So, and to go back to what you guys were saying about the whole thing with Sasha's title reigns being flaky and not ever having a successful title defense on the main roster, they would be dumb not to play that off in whoever Sasha's feuding with next. That would give it the added drama to the storyline and give it some.
You never,
and get some juice behind it. Like whoever it is, it doesn't even have to. It could be anybody.
So the first person should be Carmella, and she should go off and say, you haven't defending yourself well. I've beaten Charlotte and Asuka back to back in my title run. What can you do? You lost it to Charlotte a bunch of times. You lost it back to Asuka. I beat them both. So first person I think who should be going afterwards is Carmella. Then she beats Carmella. Go after Zelina Vega next, which is going to be a one-off. After that, if you want to do Bailey again,
oh jeez.
See. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing.
I know Zelina's like.
I got a headache. I got a headache just thinking.
That is this.
Zelina, I know.
While I respect your attempt to
to
let
try
her
to
get her feet wet before she actually goes
after Bianca goes
major foe. Yeah. Because guys, let's be honest, man.
It'd be a good match.
If she fights against Bianca, she'll probably lose.
But we can't say that Bianca has a...
trust me. I mean, Sasha's the better wrestler.
I think the match will be awesome, but we don't know
it's a really bad matchup for her, man. It's a really bad matchup for Sasha. It's really, really bad. Like I just don't see how Bianca loses to.
She has to get built up more. I personally, I need to see more promos from Bianca. But we've seen everything from NXT.
But hold up though. And I see your point, but I'll raise you this question.
You see what I'm about to say. Okay.
Would it be all that bad, right? If after like 2 title defenses, Sasha loses her belt to Bianca at Mania? Because here's the thing.
No.
If they find a way to prolong it to Mania, then that's not an issue.
To Mania? Yeah. That's like if she loses, make it lose in a credible storyline. Don't make it, she just loses it back to Bailey a week later. No,
right.
Make it make sense. If she loses to a person being built up into that position, yes, we all see because Bianca's in her 30s, so remember there is a time limit coming up there. So if she loses to a very strong Bianca Belair, then fine. That's A-okay. She could lose a very strong Rhea Ripley. That's fine. It's just as long as they're built correctly, as long as the storyline makes sense for them, and you see Bianca taken out, but Bianca is gonna have to beat Bailey. That's one match. In a match, she's gonna have to beat her soundly. She's gonna have to run through the division. Okay, I'm ready. So okay, ready to verse Sasha. They have a great match, and then she loses, and then that's fine. Then Sasha loses, even if it's 4 months. Make it a dedicated, a strong 4 months, 3 to 4 months. All we ask.
Yeah, and all we ask with that is that it makes too much sense.
Yeah, it's too much sense.
It just makes too much sense.
No. What, Shawn? Becky's returning? She just popped the baby. She's turning? Put the belt on Becky. Nah.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Exactly. Yep.
We got Tessa Blanchard popping up. Put the belt on Tessa.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there.
Listen. It was a great match between, as I said, it was a great match between them. And hopefully she has a successful run. That's it.
Yeah. And in the main event of the show, Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. I'm going to be honest, easily the weakest match and the story of the 3 cell matches we got. It also made the least sense to constitute it being inside Hell in a Cell. Like, yeah, you could argue they were feuding since July, but the story did not, in my opinion, have the same momentum and intrigue in recent weeks like it did when it first began. But honestly, I did, in bits and pieces, I did still enjoy the match. It was slow and methodical, but it didn't make me turn the TV off or anything. It never really got to a point like that for me. McIntyre took a bump off the cell halfway down to the announce table while they were climbing down from the top of the structure, where they both brawled up there for a bit. That was a nice visual. Orton taking his time getting Drew back into the ring, setting up an RKO, but Drew caught him with the backslide pin, which was how he beat Randy at SummerSlam to retain. He hits the Claymore, but Orton rolls out of the ring, drags him back inside, missed hitting the Claymore again, and Randy hits the RKO and pins him, and Randy Orton is the new WWE champion. 14 times, tying with Triple H. Honestly, I wouldn't have done the title change because it doesn't benefit either man, even Randy Orton, who didn't need to win here and win the world title again. And seeing for what happened on Raw the next night, this rivalry is continuing because why the hell not? I mean, with the recent draft, you now have AJ Styles, Matt Riddle, Jeff Hardy, and so on your brand. Fresh faces for McIntyre to go up against moving forward. And you know what all this means? And Lawrence pretty much just gave it away earlier on in this show. We've all seen the reports of what WWE has planned right now for WrestleMania 37 next year. They want to bring Edge back once he's ready to come back and have the rivalry resume between him and Randy Orton. He just won the title. Would not surprise me to see that match play out for the WWE Championship at the event.
I'm over it at this point, man. I stopped watching the pay-per-view when this match came on. That's it, and I'm not saying it's bad. It was a bad match, right? Exactly. But it's just the fact that I didn't care about who was in it. So they could do whatever the hell they want with this, as long as they don't mess up Roman right now. I'm all good.
Yeah, personally, it's the same spot as like the whole cage spot and like on top of the cage. It's been done so many times.
Yeah.
It made no reason why Randy's going up there, and Drew's like, personally, but like, I'm staying down here. Why do we need to go up there and fight you up there? And then just to fall down and take the same table spot,
the
same way that everyone takes that table spot falling off on the same side.
I actually saw that online.
Yeah.
How many times have they done that shit year after
that same
year? And it doesn't
sequence.
Like, it doesn't right. Imagine. Remember when Mankind, was thrown off the freaking cage? That was actually an oh shit moment. But now it's nothing. Like it's been done so many times before that we don't care about it anymore.
At least Rikishi fell off into a truck. He fell off like this.
Right.
It looked better. It looked more dangerous. Okay. But thing is this, you're in a setting where just barely there's no crowd and you just got TV monitors. They should just kept it simple. The match didn't need a Hell in a Cell aspect. It could have been a regular match again, or whatever type of stipulation, last man standing, whatever. It didn't need the Hell in a Cell aspect. As again, no one really cared about it. I think the feud went on a little too long, to the point that Randy just gets the title match just to get a title match.
Because before the draft, they had nobody. That's exactly why they decided, you know what? We're not going to be creative. We're not going to build up any new stars to be next to line for Drew and the WWE title. We're just going to keep putting it on Orton. We're going to go back to the safe option. Not to say that Orton's a bad choice in general. Like when Randy Orton is motivated, he is one of the best wrestlers in the company, bar none. But like the momentum, like I said earlier, it just wasn't there like it was when the feud first began.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't there. You're right. It was not there. I'm happy Randy got it, but now you have Miz with the briefcase. Miz is not gonna do anything with it. Randy's gonna hold that title. He's probably go through other little feuds to get away. Now they have the Fiend going after him.
Yeah, that's what we need to see. A rehash of the Orton Bray Wyatt feud for the WWE title.
I did like when it was going into it before the match. It was great. Going into the match, it was fine.
You're talking about the original feud?
The original way back.
Oh right, yeah. I remember. I enjoyed that rivalry up to the point where Orton turned his back on Bray.
Turned his back on Bray, burned down the house. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a nice dynamic, like having him join the Wyatt family, like sabotaging them from within.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good storyline.
It was a good storyline. But no one cares for it. Just no one wants to see it at this time.
No one wants to see it. No one wants to see it at all. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty much Hell in a Cell. Like I said, like other than the 3 cell matches and Miz winning the briefcase, there's not a whole lot to get into with it. Moving on here with some more news, Survivor Series will be taking place in just a few weeks, with the show this year being revolved around 30 years of The Undertaker, as it was 30 years ago that the Dead Man debuted at the Survivor Series show in 1990. We talked about this on this past week's episode of the show, where Tara had nothing nice to say about Undertaker at all.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, leave him alone. He's already the Dead Man. So if you want to know exactly what she had to say about him, unless you're a diehard Undertaker stan, go back and check that show out. But otherwise, it's not for the faint of heart. It was just brutal. We now know that it'll be brands fighting it out for brand supremacy and bragging rights once again, which doesn't mean a damn thing after the show goes off the air. There's no real stakes at all, which
it's
if there were...
One time a year they fight. One time a year.
Yeah, one time of the year, even though this past summer we've seen constant Raw and SmackDown matches together.
Oh, wow.
You gotta love it. Listen, no, there's no real stakes at all, which if there were, maybe people would actually care about this event, besides the potential lineups and matches we can see that we're interested in. So far, the card looks like Roman Reigns against Randy Orton, Universal Champion against WWE Champion. It could be a pretty good match. I have no doubt of that. But if McIntyre were still the champion, I probably would care a little bit more if we saw Drew and Roman go at it together. Sasha Banks against Asuka, which is guaranteed to be a great match, but we've just seen this feud play out just this past summer, and nobody's clamoring for another match so soon. New Day against the Street Profits, looking forward to that. And Bobby Lashley against Sami Zayn. No thank you. WWE, keep this match. I don't care for this one at all.
Whoa.
At all.
Whoa. You don't want to see the almighty? You don't want to see the almighty Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn? Now, yes, for the beginning match, their first match when I think it was like 2018, it was bad. Not really that good. But Sami Zayn is back healthy. Bobby Lashley hasn't looked better than he's looked before. He's been looking great with Hurt Business. MVP done his thing. Personally, I think that could be a sleeper match. Personally, I think that is a sleeper match. That could be one of the better matches on the card. The whole Asuka Sasha Banks situation, I don't mind seeing it again as long as no one interferes. Hopefully, Bale doesn't interfere in the match. You give him about 20 minutes, let him tear the house down.
You just jinxed it.
Yeah,
you probably just jinxed it for all we know.
I just told the ending. Just told the ending of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm maybe you're right, who knows, but I'm not holding out any hope for this one. And we have the men's and the women's 5-on-5 traditional elimination matches as per usual. This card is subject to change depending on the title holders and whether or not we see new champions in the weeks to come, like they like to do so. And now the interesting thing about this show is that one brand, as of right now, is conspicuous by its absence in all this, and that is NXT, who was a part of the Survivor Series show last year and even won out Raw and SmackDown last year. So as of now, SmackDown is not a part of NXT, I should say, is not a part of the show for this year, which would be a huge mistake, seeing as how WWE loves to point out that they are a third brand legitimately, on par with Raw and SmackDown, presumably. Why they would be left out of brands fighting it out to see who is better for the year really makes no sense to me. But it was reported that while there have been no discussions regarding NXT being a part of Survivor Series as of last week, Vince McMahon is, after all, an unpredictable man. And we do still have a month to go before the show, so this is subject to change as well.
Okay. So you said a few things there that lit up. You said NXT not being part of Survivor Series makes no sense. I actually think it makes perfect sense. And here's why. No one's giving a shit about NXT this year. Their mystique, their presence has faded significantly. And no one knows who the fuck they have on their roster right now. All these things, Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you really want to see Cameron Grimes on Survivor Series.
I'm good. No,
Cameron
get him off my
Grimes.
TV.
He's
Get him off my
Right.
TV.
Right. I'm sorry, man. NXT does not deserve to be on in Survivor Series this year, man. They don't. The brand has nothing to show for it. The brand is not hot. You're getting your ass whooped by AEW. I mean, the only reason why you should, probably add them is because, main roster stars are probably going to show up on NXT if you do, right? If you add them to the Survivor Series, they're probably going to show up like last year. But that's all in the past now. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have it in their resources anymore to pull that. At least not in the COVID era. Yeah, like you're just gonna have to do this solely with SmackDown and Raw, just like you've been doing it for years.
Right, I get what you're saying. NXT would not really be adding a whole lot in terms of interest and anything like that if they leave them out like they are currently. It's not even a matter of like what I want necessarily. It's just a case of WWE loves to tout NXT as a third brand in just like Raw and SmackDown is, and it kind of makes no sense in that aspect. Like it's not even a matter of whether or not I'm genuinely interested to see NXT involved. It's like you're right. The shine is very much off the apple. Like I don't give two shits about NXT right now. I have not even gone back and watched like the past 3 or 4 episodes at this point. I'm not at all. So NXT wants if they're going to be left out, I'm not going to cry about it or anything. But it just didn't make any sense regardless why they would keep them out of it, even if they are the weaker than they were a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just think the storylines for NXT right now just not adding up to even mirror SmackDown right now. Now it is a reason, maybe because of COVID, because they recently had an outbreak. I think just last week they had an outbreak now, so it is affecting the card tonight for Halloween Havoc. But for right now, there's nothing I want to see. There's nothing really popping out that, oh, I want to see this person, I want to see that person, I want to see Rhea Ripley. I don't want to see. Like there's nothing really showing to me that I want to see NXT at Survivor Series right now. So I think they need to keep it separate for a little while. Maybe next year they garner more fanfare, but right now it's not looking too good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it really isn't. Like unless something drastic changes with NXT, like this is exactly the lane they're going to be stuck in for a while.
Yeah, they're in a rut. They're in a rut. I don't know. It's like the shows are probably not bad. It's just that it's just something's missing. I don't know what it is. Maybe
it feels too main roster light.
It's just it's something. Maybe with Road Dogg, it's just like it feels like when Road Dogg had SmackDown. It just feels like they're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just something. It doesn't have the NXT feel anymore. It doesn't feel like NXT. NXT had that like atmosphere. It doesn't have that atmosphere anymore. It just feels like everyone's going through the motions, and that's it. Like the champions are correct. Like the people who are champions, correct people. Damian Priest as North American. That's the right person right now. Finn Balor when he's healthy. I don't know the status of Finn Balor, but that's the right person to be champion right now. And Io, right person to be champion. It's just everything else is just not gelling together. It's just not coming together at this point. It just feels off. That's it.
Yeah.
It feels off.
Yeah, summed it up nicely there, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll leave it at that for today. Thanks for checking out another edition of Wrestling Hypothesis Extra. Be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram for any news updates we post on there, as well as any updates on our weekly show. I thank Lawrence big time for being able to join us on this week's Extra. Thanks again, man.
Thanks for filling in for Ricardo. Hopefully you'll be here next week too.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, we should get you back on these shows one of these days.
Extra,
more consistently at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We will be back for episode 42 this upcoming Sunday. So until then, take care, guys. Enjoy Halloween.
Yeah, later.
See you.